What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Singing the Tea. I'm your host, Dustin Singer Actor Lewis. You already know. Sometimes I sing, sometimes I give you all the reality TV tea. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. Listen, we finna jump into it. It's the season finale of Married to Medicine. It is a bittersweet moment for us to be here. We went through the whole season of Married to Medicine. Y'all know this is my favorite show on Bravo, so I'm super, super excited to do this review. But I'm super, super sad, that this is it for us. I have to figure out something for us to talk about because right now I feel like really the only thing that's on Bravo right now is Married to Medicine. So I'm gonna try to figure out. Excuse me, Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out something, just so we can chat a little bit more. Y'all give me some ideas. Throw it in the comments. Let me know what you want me to watch. Some shows y'all want to talk about, some topics y'all want to talk about. Throw it in the comments. Hit me up on social media. Let me know what y'all want to talk about, and then we can try to add it to the fold. But for right now, let's go ahead and get to the season finale of Married to Medicine. So season 11, episode 17, reunion part 3. Great way to end things. Like, this was such a good season. I think it started off slow, but like the way it ended was great. Like, I love this show. Loved this season. Such a good season. Now the episode opens up with Curtis having a conversation about his perspective on Greg and Quad. He's just basically saying, like, Quad had to spend whole season last year with Greg being with Sweet Tea and talking about how they found love and going through their wedding things. And yes, she wasn't a part of a lot of it, but she still was there. And she wasn't able to be a part of it because the cast essentially moved on without her. Could be from their doing, could be without of their doing. We don't know. But it was a lot for her to witness. It just was. It was a tough situation for her to be in. So as he's having that conversation on stage, we see her and Simone. They're continuing that fight that they had the end of last episode. And that fight was very explosive. A lot of things were said. Dr. Simone is saying that Quad is. Dr. Simone is saying that Quad is. I'm not crying, y'all. I don't know. It look water or something on my eyes. It's weird. Um, Quad Dr. Simone said that Quad, this is her karma, which that's a very odd thing to say to somebody because it's like, girl, where's that coming from? So, Quad is even asking, like, what do you mean it's my karma? Like, where is that coming from? Like, Simone, I have done nothing to you. So it's very weird because Simone had a lot of energy for Quad, but why? Like, where is this coming from? So then on top of that, what really set things off for Simone was when Quad was like, girl, I was there for you when you was looking for your dad, like I was there for you. And I don't think that's Quad meant it in a negative way. Quad was just like, I was there for you. I have been supportive of you. I have shown up for you. Why you treat me like this? And then, Simone just loses it. Like, don't bring up her dad. I get where she was coming from, but Quad wasn't coming from a negative place, in my opinion. Um, I just hate that it exploded that way. So, they separate the two. And Toya did a great job. Toya and Mimi did a really, really good job of trying to like get to Quad and just letting her know, like, we understand you felt like she was coming from a negative place, but it's good that she let you know how she felt. Also, you weren't around. You weren't speaking to her. Yes, nothing happened, but y'all weren't speaking. You didn't let her in your life. So she has Greg, Dr. Greg, who was still cool with her husband. So she just naturally moved on with them. Like, it wasn't anything malicious being done, possibly. And she just moved on with that friend group. And Quad, you gotta respect that a little bit. I understand it's uncomfortable for you. I know that in some essences, let's be real, they brought her on the show because it would be good TV, it would be good drama, like it would. Either the cast or producers, whoever. It was good TV for us to see this, even though now it's a little uncomfortable. So I get where she was coming from, but I think that Toya did a great job. I really think that Quad, Toya, Mimi, Dr. Mimi, I think that they're great people for this show. Like, them getting through the Quad in a way that she was able to understand and receive it in that moment was great. Like, that was a great breakthrough. That was really, really, really good. Now, child, this is where they get funny. So we see DrJackie, Sweet Tea, and Dr. Simone go to another room. DrJackie is trying to calm Dr. Simone down, and baby Sweet Tea is just trying to talk. Dr. Jackie said, "Sweet Tea, baby," she said, "Get out." She had said, "Baby, I got this." She said she don't want to hear nothing from you. She said, "Get out." Dr. Jackie said, "Get out." We don't normally see DrJackie like that, But when I tell y'all that was good to me, Dr. Jackie had to put that girl out the room. It was so funny. Jackie, Jackie said, I don't want to hear nothing from you. Like, get on out. I got it. It was so funny. Sweet Tea couldn't do nothing but just be acquiesce and just get on out the door, baby. That was so freaking funny. But Jackie is trying to calm Simone down. Simone is heated. She's just letting her know, like, she brought up my dad. And Jackie's trying to listen to her, but she's like, listen, you just gotta calm down. Like, that's what you gotta do. You gotta calm down. I understand where you're coming from. But calm down, girl. She wasn't coming from a malicious place. She just wasn't. I think they just was heat of the moment. Heat of the moment, but it's honestly like, and Simone explains it a little bit later, but I truly don't get what Simone's like true issue is with Quad. And that's something that Simone is going to have to figure out within her own self, because it ain't that deep, honestly, between them two. Like, y'all should be able to move on, especially at this point. Like, girl, it ain't that deep. So both of them are coming from a place of hurt. Both of them are not hearing each other because they are just upset. And they just got to move on. They just got to agree to move on so that they can get to a better place, if that's truly what they're wanting to do. Because I do believe that they care for each other. So we head back to the stage. The guys are out there talking. So Dr. Greg, is asked why he thought it was smart of him to bring up what he said to Quad, to King. Like, why did he think that was a smart thing? And he just said it was called, their diagnosis was called inebriation because he just had too much to drink. And I really feel like that was a catalyst of that. Like, you should have understood and you should have known. I think, you know what, too, though? I think that Dr. Greg is one of those people, he just says whatever he wants to say, and he doesn't necessarily think about the consequences that can come from it. I think that's a large part of what his issue is, and that's why it escalated as well. Don't get me wrong, you didn't necessarily want to have that additional conversation with with King, but what you said kind of tipped it over. So I feel both ways about it, but I think that Dr. Greg is just one of those people. Some people say this, he just ain't being whooped enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like he just doesn't check. He just doesn't check himself before he says things. Like, he just lets it go out, and you're not about that life to stand 10 toes down in it. Clearly, so I think that you should just process it a little bit more before you let it come out. He just needs to do that. Now, when they said that they was only on the island for 22 minutes before stuff started popping off, that's ridiculous. That don't make no sense. So y'all was 8 black physicians on the island for 22 minutes? Child, please. Now y'all need to do better than that. That's ridiculous. For 22 minutes. That is wild. Y'all, I thought I was recording. I thought I was in here talking to myself for a minute, and I was gonna be pissed off. That ain't a cuss word. I was gonna be hot up here if I was sitting here this whole time talking to y'all and it ain't record. But it's recording, so I'm gonna jump back on into it. Now, Andy now Andy, you was messing with this one. Andy was like, well, I ain't trying to start no mess, but who do y'all think would have won? And we all know the answer to that. Let's not even get cute. We all know the answer to that. It's Dr. Greg. I'm just kidding. We all know that King would have wore that man out on that island, on that sandbar. But Greg was really funny in this scene. He was like, listen, Greg said that man is half my age. He said he about double my size. He said, look at him. Greg said, listen, now I can't take him on my own, but me and my wife, baby, who got that military background, we would have jumped him, baby. We would have had him out there. That was really funny when he said that. So that's hilarious. That he's able to laugh about it a little bit at this point. So, they asked Greg, like, they asked him about how he spoke to Sweet Tea when they was at the home when they made it back. And how he was saying, you just so naive. Like, who you think you talking to? Who you think you talking to? Essentially, how he was speaking to her. And it came off like he forgot the cameras were there. And he just was wilding. And I've had conversations about that particular scene with people. And we all kind of end up to the same place, right? I don't know what I was trying to say just then. We all end up at the same place when it comes to that situation. Is if he can speak to you that way on camera, how is he speaking to you outside of this? So we do come from a place of concern when it comes to Sweet Tea sometimes, when it comes to Dr. Greg. Just how he shows up with her, how he's shown up in the past with Quad. A zebra doesn't change its stripes. I'm just saying, I think that he can make some adjustments, but I think that Dr. Greg is very who Dr. Greg is going to be, unfortunately. So Dr. Greg said that he owes her an apology. King jumps in and he's just saying like there is something there with how he is aggressive towards women. And now, King, you should have just sat over there, ate your food. But since you chimed in, listen, there is a way that Dr. Greg speaks to his women that he's with. He does speak to them in a certain way. I don't know what that is. I've heard people often say that doctors are often, some of your worst patients. So he probably doesn't feel like he needs to go and speak to anybody or needs to figure what that is out because he is a psychiatrist. And he's a black man. Sometimes black men just don't go to the doctors. Like they just are hard patients to have. So I can see where Dr. Greg is a very difficult person to try to help get to a diagnosis. Um, but yeah, but that's just that. But let me tell y'all what Dr. Greg has said. Now let me tell you something, buddy. Now listen here, buddy. When he had said that, ooh, King, baby, you should have scurried for the hills. When somebody gets to tell you, let me tell you something, buddy. Baby, that mean business. Oh snap, baby, you better run, King. Now, if he would said, let me tell you something, buddy, again, King, he might would have whooped you. He might would have put them paws on you, King, baby, because that let me tell you something, buddy, ain't no joke. That combination of let me tell you something, buddy, baby. King, that's a bad mamma jamma. You better run, King. Um, Either way. So the next thing that they talk about is them bringing up the charges that Greg was allegedly going to put on King. Now, King, this was funny. When King was like, child, I called down there to the police station, and the people said, they told him, please stop calling us and clogging up our lines, because we is not going to file this. But Greg was like, no, I did file, and I dropped the charges. Okay, Greg, let's say you did. Honestly, it was gonna go nowhere because nothing happened. Like y'all didn't fight, y'all argued, but y'all were both at each other. So like it would end up being just like a wash, honestly, because he didn't assault you. Um, that was just a very interesting choice when he did that. Um, I don't know. I don't really feel like that's the. I don't understand what his point was with doing that. Well, honestly, he was trying to prove a point. He was trying to prove a point. He was trying to just assert his dominance over the situation. That's really what he was trying to do. So, yeah. So they're asking if they can move forward. Greg doesn't feel like they can because he feels like King has preconceived notions of him. King is like, listen, I came to this thing with a clean slate. I was honestly wanting to be friends with people, but my issue is you cannot speak to my wife, my woman like that and think that you're gonna get away with it. You could have possibly done it in the past, but you can't do it now with me standing here. And I do feel like Greg owes Quad an apology. Greg doesn't really feel that way, but I think that he should apologize. And Eugene tries to give him a really, really good Eugene tries to like give him like a good example of because Greg is like, well, why do y'all feel like I need to? I have a hard time feeling like I need to apologize. And Eugene is like, you should apologize because you just said that you had a big effing mouth. And the thing with that is, Greg says that that's out of his character, but he said it needed to be said. The thing with Dr. G is he once again he puts his foot in his mouth and he doesn't understand what he is saying sometimes. Like he does too much. Like if you people are trying to get you to understand that you need to apologize, why do you feel like, well, it needs to be said? It didn't need to be said by you. She is not with you. She is not your spouse anymore. You can't say anything that you want to this woman. You can't do that, man. So that's something that Greg really needs to work on. And if he is going to continue to be in this group, he does need to go to counsel. I think him and Quad both, because both of them are going to have to figure out ways of how they can navigate this group with each other being there and being present. They're going to have to figure out. Not saying that they got to go to counseling together, but they do have to go and figure out what their relationship is going to look like with both of them being together. Now, I do think that Dr. Greg is a clown because when he said that, and even all the men were just kind of like, bro, like, come on, man, like, you got to stop. But when Eugene was trying to get him to admit, and this is where I love Dr. Eugene. When Dr. Eugene was saying, listen, man, I can understand because it's an uncomfortable, unique situation that you are in. I can understand if you have issues with that. I can understand that this is hard for you. I can understand that it's uncomfortable. And Dr. Greg is just like, no, I mean, no, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. It is an issue, and we can understand that it's an issue for you to be uncomfortable with being on a TV show with your ex-wife, being on vacation. She's sitting in front of you with her new person, speaking about how she wants kids, how this person is amazing. She can't wait to have kids with this person. She didn't want to do that with you. She's the one that filed for divorce. So I can understand how that can be a little uncomfortable, and it's okay for it to be uncomfortable. I will say this too. I can also understand how it's hard for you to admit that on camera because it's never going to go away and you're on a show with your new wife. And you never want your new wife to feel like you're still living back there in your past, but your actions make me feel like I ain't even your new wife, but your actions make me feel like you still living there in your past. So that's just kind of how I feel about the situation. And Cecil, you a messy talking about some you can't make him accept something, whatever. Child, Cecil, please. We ain't need that from you. We did not need that for you. So after, they go on break, everyone goes backstage and they come back, everyone's back on stage and it opens up with Quad and Simone having a conversation. And Quad is simply asking her, well, Simone, when you say that it was my karma, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean it's my karma? Hold on, my lips are a little dry. Hold on, y'all. When you say it's my karma, what you mean? Child, we're going to get it together over here, child. Okay? So when you say it's my karma, what you mean by that? And Simone is just saying that she's over having to keep apologizing, having to keep explaining to Quad, like, what we did to you back in the day and you still live and we brought these people back. It's two things. If I was in a situation with Simone, I can understand how it's annoying. But on the other foot, for Quad, her ex is there, so it's an odd situation for all parties involved. It's uncomfortable because they are friendly with Greg and Sweet Tea. Dr. Cecil's cool with Dr. Greg, so I can understand how it's difficult for them to be in that space. Quad is sitting here asking her, like, Simone, I'm asking you for the last 10 years, tell me the things that I've done so I can apologize so we can move forward. And Quad apologizes for how she reacted to some of the things that Simone did from the previous year about bringing up, the unfortunate situation that happened at her house. So I can understand, Quad apologizing for some of it. I don't know. Quad apologized. I think that was a nice thing for her to do. And then, when Simone said, she's done, and then Andy was like, do you accept? And she was like, I accept. And Simone was like, well, good. I mean, Squad was like, well, good. It's just very odd. Like, their relationship is so odd. You can tell that they don't like each other. I'm going to say this. I think that the cast would be interesting with a good shakeup. I like Dr. Simone. I would be mad if Dr. Simone didn't come back. And I love DrJackie. You know what's funny? I like DrJackie being there. I would like to see what it looks like if one of them wasn't. And I would actually rather it be Simone not come back for a season just to see what that looks like. It's kind of like the Robin and Giselle thing. Like, one of them can go so we can get like some room for somebody. I think that if Dr. Simone were to go, we would have like a little bit of a different dynamic with the group. Yeah, I think we'll have a different dynamic with the group for real if we had Dr. Simone not come back for a season. Just to try to see what's going on there. I think we should just try to see what's going on. But I do think that Simone is kind of the problem with a lot of the stuff that goes on with this show. I think that she is the issue with a lot of things that go on. So after, they have their come to Jesus moment, DrHeavenly apologizes to DrContessa. That was really, really nice of her to do. It was unexpected. And it was good to see her really want to say, hey, I want to move forward. Now, that might not be how she feels today, but I hope that she does truly want to move forward. And I hope that they can become cool. Not saying I want them to be best friends, but I hope that they could become cool with each other. And I love to see that DrContessa was able to accept it, and they're good. So I think that there's hope there for them to at least be good next season. Because I would love to see DrContessa come back as a full time. But yeah, it's a good group. It's a good group. So they talk about Quad and Quad having her king. Her and King being together. I love it. Andy's asking them about questions. Is he gonna pop the question like how y'all are feeling about this? And King just says, he's not in a rush. He's taking it day by day. They're gonna see what's going on. So yeah. So yeah, that's no rush there. Hopefully we get some babies and stuff coming up here soon. I would love to see a little baby quad. That would be so cute. To see a little baby quad. So we get into the package of Key West, the Key West drama child. And listen, yeah, y'all got to start for 22 minutes down at the sandbar, according to Eugene. But they're talking about that, and then they're asking Quad, was it the sauce that had you coming at Greg? And here's the thing with Quad. Quad keeps saying, she wasn't coming at Greg. I think that Quad should do one of two things. One, hey, I wasn't intentionally coming at Greg. Did he catch some strays from some of the things that I said? Yes, I do have to own that. It was a little bit of liquor talking. Quad needs to approach things like that sometimes. One of the things when it comes to people on reality TV, they have a hard time just simply saying, you know what, my bad. That was my bad. I wasn't. It was a liquor, my bad. Some people have a hard time of doing that, and I love Quad down, but Quad has a hard time just owning her part sometimes. Like Quad, that was one of those you could have just owned it, girl. I get it, but you can give a little something. Give something sometimes. It's hard for. Well, she did it for Simone, so that was nice. But I think that she could have gave him like, you know what? I, I was highlighting my man, when I saw you back then, I was like, let me get a little extra. So I think that she could have owned that a little bit more. So Andy is asking if their conflict between Dr. Greg and Quad, is due to unfinished business between them two, and it has nothing to do with their partners. And I think that we all can agree that that's essentially what it is. Their partners are just collateral damage in this whole thing. And Sweet Tea, she says that she understands that, but she just doesn't want Quad to bring up Greg. And Greg apologizes to Quad. I feel like that's a good thing. Quad said, when she's speaking of King, she's not trying to down Greg. I can understand both heads of the coin on that. You got your leg back, it's okay. But when Sweet Tea was saying, "Hey, I don't want you to mention Greg," Sweet Tea, the reason Greg was mentioned is as and how that situation kind of erupted when y'all was at the little couples event was due to you. And that's one of those things too. She's another one. She does not own some of the things that she does. It wouldn't have escalated as much had it not been for you. Like, yes, Quad was bringing up the baby shower stuff, but there were people egging Quad on. Like, Toya was egging Quad on too. Like, there were more to it. And I feel like Sweet Tea and them was laughing too. Like, I feel like it was funny. I could see Quad throwing y'all a bomb baby shower. And I think it would be really, really cool. Because I can see y'all both having babies similar times. So I can see something like that happening. But yeah, child. Sweet Tea, here's the thing. And you and Greg got to own this. Yeah, Greg, you probably don't want her anymore. Like, you have moved past it ish. But she filed for divorce. She got a lot of the things out of that marriage. He was like, well, I could have came for some of your cash. And she was like, well, I helped you build your practice. And he's like, no, you didn't. But Greg, we actually seen her help you with your practice. So like, you kind of did yourself a disservice with that because you let them put it on the show as if she did. So that's on you. But I will say this. It's an uncomfortable situation. No one will naturally do this. It's uncomfortable, and I feel like this is an uncomfortable situation that Greg, you decided to bring your new wife back into. I'm gonna just say that. I feel like you decided to bring her back into it, and it is gonna be what it is. So they're asking Quad about the charges, and she was just saying she felt like, and this is why I'm gonna talk about this a little bit. She felt like Greg did that as a get back to assert his dominance, essentially, and he was trying to isolate them from the show. I 100% believe that. I believe his goal was to isolate them from the show. I think that he felt like, just like he did with the reunion, he felt like, oh, I need all the security because I don't feel safe around King. King is aggressive. You felt like you were doing all that was going to isolate him, but it's isolating you. You're isolating yourself from this group, and you're making it difficult for people to. Honestly, Greg, you are making yourself a laughing stock. Like when it comes down to you singing a song, when it comes down to you performing, like y'all look goofy. You look goofy. It looks weird. And I can see you alienating yourself from a lot of people. Like, I'm gonna be real. When it looks like Steve, King, Dr. Damon, and like they ain't really fooling with you like that. So those are three. Curtis really ain't really fooling with you. I can see, like, honestly, it's like that side of the couch or that side. they ain't really rocking with you like that. And I feel like Eugene is a good middle person. I feel like Cecil is just gonna go where the wind is gonna go, and Dr. Scott, I'll be forgetting Dr. Scott is there. But yeah, man, like Dr. Greg, you just it's just ugh. So Damon talks about his views on husband code, and not coming for another man's wife. I respect it. I respect that. I get it. I'm also too. I'm a protector. I'm a protector in honestly, if it's somebody that I care about when it comes to my friend, my family, somebody that I'm talking to, somebody that I'm dating, my partners, I am protective of my people. And I get like that. Like if I feel like somebody's coming for my people, like I do feel a certain type of way. Now there are gonna be some situations I'll be like, well, child, I'm gonna let you handle that. But overall, I'm a protector too when it comes to certain things. So when I get where Dr. Dame is coming from, I get where King is coming from in some of those aspects. When Dr. Greg was saying, well, your spouse just can't say things to me. Yes, I'm coming from a different way. Being gay, it's typically gonna be male male, right? So that's a little bit different. Or like if I'm protecting like one of my female friends, it's probably gonna be because of a male, you know? So I think that Greg, you going from male to woman, it sometimes is a little weird because if you really feel that way, just be like, hey man, I don't appreciate what your spouse did, which I think you kind of did that with Dr. Damon. Um, I think you should just address the person. And Dr. Cecil, I don't know why I keep calling him Dr. Cecil, Doctor by proxy. But Cecil, he tries to give his a different perspective on it, but he still deduced and ended up on the same deduction. I don't know why I keep saying deduce. I don't know why I keep saying that. That's the word of the week, deduce, baby. Um, but yeah, so they keep ending up at the same place. But I don't know. I think it's different perspectives, but I do say in those settings, but those men typically have traditional roles. And it's funny, Dr. Heaven was like, you ain't gonna be able to come to me like that. Was she right? Dr. Damon ain't having that. And I get what she was. You know what? She gave a good point on that. She said he is not going to hear what I'm saying to you. He is going to hear how you're responding to me, and then that's going to have him go towards you. I can understand that. I can 100% understand that. So actually, Heavenly gave an actually really, really good example of that, in my opinion. She'll not always be right, and I'm not saying that she's 100% right on that one. I can understand where she was coming from that perspective. Now, when Toya was saying that Greg started it, when he started saying what he said to Quad, say, we don't care what you think, that is what kind of escalated a little bit, Dr. G. Like, she was cool. Yes, she was saying this stuff, but she wasn't saying anything to you directly. I know he feels like she's trying to tarnish his character, but Greg, you are a part of her past. So sometimes when she's saying things, it's going to hit you because she's going to be speaking from these are some of the things that I went through. This is what I have now. This is what I overcame. And because you are the obstacle that she overcame and you are in her presence, it's always going to sting. But unfortunately, by you being here in this group, you're going to have to eat it. You're going to have to eat it or you're going to have to leave because you chose to come back in this fold and you know it was going to be uncomfortable. You knew what y'all's relationship was before you came back on the show. So I think Greg, that's something that you and T really need to think about. Hold on, let me see. So they talk about how Greg was speaking to Sweet T. King again says that that's no behavior, and T has said, "Baby, King, that ain't none of your business, baby." She said they ain't got nothing to do with you. And as that they are having that conversation, Contessa is talking to him. She's like, "Wait, y'all have had rough conversations?" Because and she's talking to Toya essentially in this spot. Because a lot of people are giving Sweet Tea a lot of heat for how he's coming at her. And Toya said, yes, me and Eugene have had rough conversation on TV. But the thing with us is we looked at that and was like, you know what? We need to go talk to somebody because this is not right. This is not normal behavior. She was saying, Sweet Tea, the thing with y'all is y'all are trying to accept it and make it seem like it's normal. And it's funny because in that moment she kind of was, but you got to do the work. You have to do the work to get out of that situation. And they say that they are doing the work, that they are looking to move forward. They are going to counseling, which is good to see. Would love to see that. I want anybody to be prosperous in their situation. I hope that they can overcome how he talks to her. Um, yeah, I just hope that he gets better because yeah, he definitely has some issues that he needs to work on. I already talked about the performance, and I'm with Steve. Why does he keep doing this to himself? Because he always looks a fool. It's so uncomfortable. It's so cringy. And then Sweet Tea just, girl, please, ugh, disgusting, disgust me. So as we head backstage, because Andy said we got to go to break, it was a mess. What did Contessa say? Did I jot it down? Contessa had said something. She said it's worse in person. And when I tell you, Contessa was throwing out them little quips, and it was really good. But as we are heading backstage, we see Dr. Damon and Dr. Eugene having a conversation. And, Dr. Damon was like, I think I might have said a little too much. I think that he just knows that he's more so, he doesn't let his emotions get the best of him on TV. And I think that he was more so coming from a place of like, man, I wanted to say what I wanted to say, but I didn't want it to come off in a negative way. I can understand where Dr. Damon is coming from. I know some people don't necessarily care for him, Heavenly and Damon, but Damon is a really even kill guy. Like, he really is an even kill good guy. And I think that he cares about his image. I think that he cares how he comes off and how he wants to make sure that he's respectful to people. So him and Eugene having that conversation, and I don't think it was a bad conversation. It's just Eugene was like, hey, I get where you're coming from. But, man to man, somebody saying, you're a coward, that could be some fighting words, and then, Heavenly chimes in, and Toya, but like I said, it wasn't a bad thing. I just think that they were just coming from perspective. And Dr. Damon said, if me saying that, he said, because that's how I felt in the moment. And if that would have caused him wanting to fight me, we just would have had to duke it out. So I think that they came to a good understanding with each other there. I really like them. I wish we saw more of those couples having conversations, because I really like Dr. Damon and Dr. Eugene having those conversations. They are really cool. They give me that father-son vibes, them. So I really, really enjoy them having those conversations. So the ladies are back on the main stage, and Mimi talks about, because they were asking her who can be Hearts, who can work on the delivery, and of course it's Heavenly. We already know it's gonna be Heavenly. We all knew that. So they have a segment, and they're talking about Contessa, how she dressed. Baby, we know Contessa can't dress. Contessa can't dress. She can't dress. And it's so funny because Dr. Simone was like, you know what, it's okay, Contessa. Heavenly doesn't like how I dress either. Heavenly was like, listen, me and Contessa, we trying to work on this. Simone, your stuff just flat out be ugly, which that reunion dress is atrocious. Somebody said they like it. I ain't gonna put their business out here, but they said they like it. They said it look good. Chop. It look a mess. But that was really, really funny. Andy was reading some of the comments that Heavenly has made throughout the season, some of the shady comments, and they were really funny. The thing that I like about Heavenly is when she's funny, she's funny. When she's mean and nasty, baby, she go to hell. So we just want more of the funny, fun shade of Dr. Heavenly. We want her to bring that girl back out. But I would just say this, y'all. That's essentially the season. That's essentially how we ended. I think we ended on a great note. I'm really excited to see what next season brings us when it comes to Married to Medicine. I hope Dr. Mimi comes back. Honestly, I hope all the ladies come back. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing Dr. Simone take a break, a little bit from that. But I really enjoyed this season of Married to Medicine. And with that being said, thank y'all so much for watching. I look forward to seeing what this year brings us, what we're going to bring to the channel. If you are new here, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share with a family member, share with a friend, share with the person next to you at the cubicle, and we're going to keep this train on its tracks. But with that being said, have a good one, everybody, and I will see y'all soon.